Hey everybody, I hope you're doing really good. We're going to take a quick look at the astrology for this week of August 1st through August 7th. You see here I have the traditional planets on, so we're going to look at the transits to those planets and then we're going to put on the outer planets on the chart and see what that's all about too. So basically, this week the moon is in Taurus through Cancer, and it ends the week with the moon in Leo making the new moon. On August 1st here, we have the Mercury cazimi opposite Saturn, and we have Mars advancing into Virgo and Jupiter retrogressing into Aquarius. So let's take a quick look at the calendar. So it looks to me that most of the activity this week happens on Sunday and Monday, and then when we get to next Sunday, the main thing is the new moon. So there actually aren't that many interactions between the traditional planets this week. Most of that happened last week and the week before that. But the main thing we have here is the Mercury has passed the Sun, and when they passed the Sun, they passed the opposition to Saturn, and the Sun has as well, right? So I would expect this week to be less confrontational, less agitating or agitated, probably. The Sun is in Leo, and we're feeling that energy. The Sun represents our life energy, or who we really essentially are. And in Leo, it's in domicile, and we are able to speak with that authority that we want to naturally, right? So it's a better condition for Mercury for some people than it would be in Cancer, which was more about the emotional correctness, or the emotional value of what we have to say, or what we're experiencing, or the information that's coming to us. With the Mercury and Leo, we have also this ability to speak our truth and speak the reality that we are, right? That as a person, or as an someone who has an awareness, we can be that with more authenticity. But the main feature here is the opposition to Saturn. So Saturn represents the group, the conforming, the system, time, and of course Saturn is placed in one of your houses. Um, Depending on which house system that is for you, that you use, what Saturn's been doing there. And so Mercury and the Sun are completely are on the opposite side, and they're moving fast. They're moving forward. So we are on Monday, I think, confronted with yeah, it's kind of Sunday through Monday, isn't it? So it's really like Sunday, the Mercury is, so to speak, purified, goes to the heart of the Sun, and then combust. And then that combust Mercury will be opposing Saturn. So, it might be a little bit deflated or edgy on Sunday towards the afternoon, because that Mercury, it's as if he's been burnt up by the Sun. So he will have lost some dignity there. But in a sense, I think it's good. I think it's really good. I think it corresponds to a really pivotal moment for you and for a lot of people. Okay, so the moon goes through the last degrees of Taurus and makes the T-square to first, which is it first? Oh, first Mars, it looks like. So the moon makes the T-square to Mars in Virgo, and then to Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter retrograde is really in the anaretic degree of um, Aquarius. So that could be, you know what Jupiter in Aquarius has brought back in for your life. I think when Jupiter went back into Aquarius, you know, the previous house in your chart was probably activated. So the themes that have been coming up for Jupiter and Pisces for you have, they're kind of on the back burner, right? And you are dealing with these Aquarius, this Aquarius stuff in this Jupiter way. Jupiter's brought something good back into your life there. So I mean, I think it's a critical moment for being aware of what that is that's coming back, um, and also kind of how we want to act with Mars. So it is a critical moment, and there might be some fights this day. And if you've been paying attention to that Jupiter Mars opposition in the chart when it comes up, or just like paying attention in your life, like the Jupiter person is confronting the Mars person, right? So like it could come to a head, or there could be like a third party that gets involved in that at this time too, which could be interesting. So that's kind of like late um, on Sunday night, I think. Yeah. So the Mercury, Mercury's hot, gone through the heart of the sun, opposing Saturn in his domicile, who's cold, who wants things to be done according to a particular plan or certain order or structure, or you know so I think you're gonna see or otherwise hear about the problems, the obstacles, the limitations on this day, and it's as if the Sun and Mercury are having a meeting where they are discussing how we're going to cope with these problems, or how we're going to deal with them as the year progresses. Right, the Sun is talking about the wheel of the year, the four seasons, and Mercury is always going back and forth with the Sun to inform the Sun, so to speak, about what's going on. So I think we are knowing about the problems at that time. Definitely. Okay. So and then the Sun, we won't be awake for this, but mm, or I mean, you could be awake. The Saturn will be in the sky on Monday night, and this when the Sun makes the opposition. So it's interesting that the Sun will be for us, and for depending on where you live in the world, Saturn or the Sun will be either in the sky or not, because they're opposite in the sky, right? So that will be that's when the confrontation, and I guess like the confrontation, I guess, or um, let's see here. I mean, we have it right here in. Okay, we'll just say that that's when the opposite. That's when the confrontation happens, right? We'll move on. So as we go through Monday, the moon has gone through that T square and has entered into Gemini, is approaching the North Node. So pretty much not very much happens with the moon during that time. Well, I guess a lot does, actually. This is a very fateful moment because Saturn, Mercury, the Sun are all in this configuration to the North and the South Node. It is a pivotal, fateful moment, a choice, something, maybe the way that we're thinking, or the way that we are developing things in this Gemini area of our lives is somehow or other very fateful. And it makes sense because Mercury has just been Kazemi, so he's going fast, but the dignity is a little bit less, right? So the moon, Venus, Mars are all suffering a little bit from that drop in dignity. I think this moon in Taurus was actually really good in a way, because Mercury was in the heart of the sun and so on. But not to say that it's all bad. I just think that it's very pivotal, very critical moment to use wisdom in your life. So on August 3rd, on Tuesday, the moon perfects the trine to Saturn and the sextile to the Sun and the sextile to Mercury all in the morning, and then perfects the square to Venus by 10:24. So the moon is in Mercury's sign. Venus and Mars are in Mercury's sign. Does that give us a sense of reception? No, but it does imply that the rulership is very strong. So this very fast Mercury is um, I don't know. I don't know if it will mediate any of the difficulty that could be implied by that square or not. I think it will be, a time where we want to, probably get what we want or otherwise need, and the emotional need will be very strong for that. But kind of, I think maybe the more important thing is the way that the moon and Mercury are in sync here with the sextile aspect. So I think that will be pretty good. I like that for what day is that? Tuesday. Except for this desire to sort of go too far with our desires, I think it is a good day for whatever the Sun and Mercury are doing in your chart. There's definitely a really good energy where those things can sync up. Wherever you have Leo and Gemini in your chart, that looks like a great day for those areas of your life. To me, it looks like Saturn is really determining in this system that we live in with the North Node here, kind of determining what we can do, what we can't do, the limits of what we can expand into, sort of being, Saturn's just very much in control of what's being developed here, and I think Jupiter is there helping with that. Gemini indicates the streets or otherwise the roads, the neighborhood, the way people interact in this close level. Aquarius is like it's like the agora inside like the city wall, right? It's like the marketplace or the the place of business or like the openings in the walls, right? So Jupiter is, he has this overcoming trine to the moon building up here. So I think the energy is honestly really good. I think there will be some tension, right? But let's see. What's the order? So yeah, I mean that's Tuesday, and then we have this nice build up to the trine all day after that on Tuesday, and then the moon is void, of course, on Wednesday. The moon goes into Cancer, and when they do that, there's no aspect until the moon makes the sextile to Mars on Thursday. Sorry, and the sextile to Venus on Friday. So separated by about over 24 hours, which is interesting. Okay, so the moon is in aversion to, in a quincunx to Jupiter there, right? So yeah, I mean the moon is in Cancer. It's in its domicile. It looks like a good. It's not being afflicted by anything except for Pluto, which is there. Um, there's not very much light on the moon. The moon's going to the new moon, so this whole week we've been like letting go. It's not really a week of like initiating activity. It's kind of like um, letting go and kind of preparing for this new moon energy to come into your life, right? Or kind of doing the thinking, or like doing the things that are indicated by the thinking, rather than maybe not starting new projects because the moon is waning in light. So I mean, this moon in Cancer energy looks really nice. Honestly, um, I like it. I don't see anything wrong with it. It looks very sensitive. I mean, the Neptune is there. Neptune's making an overcoming trine to Cancer. So I mean, probably, you know, washed out, sort of nostalgic vibes coming through with Venus here too. So I mean, it could be like really sweet and just kind of like that imaginative factor is just like adding to it, right? But we'll get into that when we briefly talk about the outer planets. So on Saturday, the moon will go into Leo. I know we just skipped Thursday and Friday, but I mean it is just the moon in Cancer. You know what that'll be. It'll be prolonged, I think. You know, it's not really afflicted by anything. There's no real hard angles at all to that. So it looks really to say anything, it could just be like extra that extra uh, moon in Cancer, right? It does have this like flavor of being sextile to Mars. So I mean, be aware of that. I mean, the moon is going to be aspecting this malefic planet while it's in Cancer, but that's at the beginning of a sign, and the main of Friday looks really nice to me. Yeah, or Thursday, really. Thursday looks really nice. Friday is just kind of hanging out. I think probably better energy on Thursday. But early on the morning on Saturday, the moon goes into Leo and is pretty much hanging out in Leo, probably making the square to Uranus at some point, and then also going through the North and the South Node, and the opposition to Saturn by the end of the day. Yep. So, the moon will be in Leo. Uh, it's fateful. It's connected to our. Well, it's a new moon, so we're letting go, but Saturn is really overseeing the whole thing from the opposite side. Saturn has its perspective on things, and the moon will be reckoning with that as soon as it goes into um, Sagittarius, right? And that happens at the end of next week, I think, where the moon will be ruled by Jupiter, who's in Saturn's house. So it will be more to Saturn's tune at that time than on this side, which is the moon's being ruled by the sun. Um, you know, the moon will be applying to Mercury after the new moon, which is really interesting because the Mercury is ruling Mars and Venus. So it'll be an interesting time on Monday, which we'll talk about, I guess. Meh. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next week as the moon goes into Virgo. But on August 8th, there will be a new moon in Leo. So let's talk about the other planets. Let's add those planets. Okay. So during the Mercury Cazimi, Mercury opposite Saturn, the moon will be sextile to Neptune and making a trine to Pluto. So some intense outer planet energy is going on with the moon at that time. Not really talking about the Mercury Saturn Sun thing though. It's kind of on a different tilt a little bit. On Tuesday we have this Venus trine Uranus, which is really nice. When Venus went into Taurus, we all know how that went. That was like the top of the Bitcoin bull market, and it all went down after that. So, it's interesting that Venus will be aspecting that planet, who she's ruling at that time. So, however you deal with that whole thing, I mean, it'll probably be easy, Venus and a trine to it. It looks good. I don't know what that'll mean, but it could be really good in one way or another. And then Mercury will go through the square to Uranus, which is interesting to have that on the same day, on August 3rd. What to say about that? I mean, it's like a critical business situation, I guess, relative to Uranus and Taurus. What's going on Tuesday? Yeah, so Mercury and then the Sun are going through that square to Uranus and Taurus, while Venus does as well. So, I mean, this must be a critical moment for the way we relate to these themes of Uranus and Taurus with our, the more intimate levels of ourselves. Maybe our intellect, our emotions, our our value, is all going through this aspect. So somehow things are changing on this more intimate level, right, relative to Uranus and Taurus. Um, yeah, I mean, with so many aspects to Uranus, I would expect there would be, something. Oh, I bet there'll be something unexpected will happen. Well, yeah, of course it will. There will be some unexpected things that come up this week. I don't, you know, mm, on Tuesday there, the moon is connecting to that sextile to Mercury when Mercury is, getting pretty close to applying that square to Uranus. So probably you'll know, or it'll be manifest what that is on Tuesday morning. You'll be able to see it on Tuesday morning. But as the moon has already gone into Mercury and made the square to Mars and gone through the conjunction to the North Node, I would think that probably, if Mercury is somewhat afflicted here, or the moon is afflicted, ruled by Mercury, um, makes me think that there will be you know, some kind of affliction to business at this time, like kind of in the beginning, not financial advice. The moon will sextile Uranus on Thursday. The sun will square Uranus on Friday. So, it is definitely a big theme that goes on all week somehow. right, y'all. Thanks for listening. I hope it was helpful. May God bless you and give you peace and wisdom. In Jesus' name. I will see you later. Bye for now.